Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of solving quadratic equations, specifically how we can solve them by factoring and taking square roots, and we'll do it in 5 minutes or less. So sometimes we are given a function here, and we are simply asked to find the solutions. So we see here that this is already in factored form. So factored form, it's a really easy step to get from that to your solutions. It looks like this. X minus u, and then x minus v. And these u and the v, those two are your zeros, or your solutions. So that's actually what we're looking for. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of work to get it into that factored form. So we could say this u, right, that's going to be u. That's going to be 3. And then this v right here is going to be negative 9. Now you might be thinking, no, it looks like a positive 9. Well, let me tell you why even though it's a negative 3, it's a positive 3. Even though it's a positive 9, it's a negative 9. Because what we're doing is we're setting each of these, since this is equal to 0, we're looking to see what happens if either of these factors is 0. Okay, so we're going to set x minus 3 to 0. We're going to solve. And then we're going to set x plus 9 to 0 and solve. Well, that becomes fairly easy when we look at it like this. And so moving the 3 over, you're going to get x equals 3. So even though it's a negative 3 right there, this u is a minus u, so the opposite is going to be 3. And then you can see right here, once we set out the x plus 9 equals 0, why it's actually a negative 9 becomes pretty evident right there. X equals negative 9 because we have to move it over to the other side. So that's why even though it looks like a positive 9, it's really a negative 9 because this is, remember, a minus v. So our solutions to this is going to be x equals negative 9 and x equals 3. So now let's look at this example, and we'll see that it's not already in factored form, but we do see that we've got this x minus 3 squared. So sometimes when we see a binomial there already squared, we could be thinking to ourselves, could I take a square root? Well, if I were to take a square root of x minus 3 squared, right, that'd be fairly simple, right? You would just kind of do this right here, take the square root, and then this square root would cancel out the squared, and I could finally get to that x minus 3. But it's not just x minus 3 squared. I've got this 3 as a coefficient multiplying on the outside. So what I want to do here is let's divide both sides by 3. Right, so 3 over 3 becomes 1. 75 over 3, okay, so that's a little bit better. That's going to become 25. So now watch. I can now take the square root of both sides here. Now this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because obviously we've got this square root canceling out the squared. This is x minus 3. But remember, we're looking for solutions. Most, if not all, most of our quadratic functions are going to have 2 solutions. Some have 1. Every once in a while you get one that has 0 solutions, but most of them have 2. So we need to remember that the square root of 25 is not simply 5. Right? 5 times 5 makes 25. But you know what else makes 25? It's negative 5 times negative 5. The 2 negatives would cancel out. So we would show it like this. X minus 3 equals plus or minus 5. So what we need to do is we need to separate that out now and say, okay, so x minus 3 equals 5. And then x minus 3 equals negative 5. Because that square root of 25 turned into 2 possible solutions, positive 5 or negative 5. Now we can solve for x. So let's add 3 here. All right, so x equals 8, okay? And then we are going to add 3 here. But now x is going to equal negative 2. So we still have our 2 solutions, but it's going to be 8 and negative 2, and we got that by taking the square root and remembering the square root of 25 is plus or minus 5.